Today you will find out the names of 5 talented WCW female wrestlers that you most likely began to forget. The company tried twice to launch the WCW Women's Championship, but they didn't gain much popularity on TV. At the same time, mostly girls acted as eye candies there, and only a few were legitimate wrestlers. Despite these obstacles, there were girls in WCW who managed to pave the way for women's wrestling as we know it today. I think many of you are very familiar with Torrie Wilson and Stacey Keibler, but there were other bright female wrestlers in WCW that everyone knew about, but eventually began to forget. And today we will remind you about them. Be sure to watch this video to the end, there you will find a surprise. Enjoy watching! 5th place, Akira Hokuto. Born Hisako Uno, Hokuto debuted at the age of 18 in AJW, where she immediately started to stand out from the crowd. After many victories in her home country, she was determined to become the first WCW Women's Champion. As a result, she actually became one of only 2 women to ever hold a championship belt. Her performance and image was ahead of its time. Drawing inspiration from Bull Nakano, she herself became an example for such stars as Asuka. 4th place, Luna Vachon. Many people know Luna as the wrestler who in the early 90s along with Bull Nakano took the WWE Women's Division to a new level, but not everyone remembers that she also competed in WCW in 1997 when the company needed to revive its own women's division. Matches against Medusa and aforementioned Akira, in which Luna participated, even now look fresh and pleasant. By the way, Luna had a bright rivalry with Medusa, which was undeservedly forgotten. Whatever it was, Vachon has since been inducted into WWE Hall of Fame for her contribution to the women's wrestling of that period. Violence! 3rd place, Nancy Benoit. Every person who is more or less interested in wrestling knows about the tragic fate of this girl, but Nancy deserves to be remembered as talented manager of WCW, and not just as a victim of a terrible incident. Nancy was one of the first female managers, along with Sunny and Miss Elizabeth. It was she who promoted wrestlers such as Kevin Sullivan and Benoit himself. There were no such unique managers before or after her. 2nd place, Devil Masami. This girl became the second and last in history to hold the WCW Women's Championship. And by an interesting coincidence, Devil Masami was also from Japan. At home, she is known for working in All Japan Pro Wrestling, where she was inducted into the Hall of Fame. An experienced wrestler with her talent helped WCW a lot at a time when they were trying to improve the quality of women's wrestling. But soon Devil Masami returned home, and that was the end of her collaboration with WCW. And before we go to the 1st place, subscribe to the channel and like if you haven't already. So in the 1st place we have Sherri Martel. Sherri was one of the pioneers of women's wrestling in the 80s and 90s, and her work in WCW is also an important part of promoting women's competition. Before moving to WCW, Sherri worked as a manager for WWE for 6 years. There she collaborated with such prominent wrestlers of the time as Ted DiBiase and Randy Savage. After joining WCW, Sherri became the manager of Ric Flair in 1994. She was also a big part of Harlem Heat and competed in intergender matches with Alundra Blaze. Sherri has fully earned her place in the WWE Hall of Fame. And so our list of 5 WCW female wrestlers that you may have forgotten has come to an end. And as a bonus, we will tell you about another female wrestler. Her name is Daphne. Now few people remember that she began her television career even before participating in the famous TNA. In 2000 she appeared in WCW and only within a year managed to prove that women in the company deserved the role of wrestlers and not only dancers. What other female wrestlers from WCW should we all remember? Write in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.